A roving band of violent criminals has made the news in New York, and folks are encouraging New Yorkers to get guns.
First at 11 o'clock, a new clue in the search tonight for the suspects who brutally beat and nearly killed a New York cop. That officer tonight recovering in the hospital.
It turns out he's just one of nearly 20 victims of this dangerous and violent mob roaming the streets of Queens and the Bronx.
We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but first, a quick reminder, we have a gun giveaway going on. It's absolutely free, but it ends really soon. So click the link in the description down below to learn which brand new gun you could win. Okay, there's video all over the place of this group of folks driving a black Honda with out-of-state plates, just randomly robbing people on the streets, mostly in the area of Queens, maybe over into Brooklyn as well.
In this video from Monday morning released by police, you can see 3 of the suspects jump out of the Honda as the 4th acts as a getaway driver. Cops say here they're about to rob a 36-year-old man on Quimby Avenue. One flashed a knife as the other stole a phone and wallet. And as they sprint back to their Honda, they rob a couple, a 32-year-old woman and a 48-year-old man, pummeled. They had debit cards and $1,000 cash stolen.
Stop and think about this for a minute. How quickly these robberies happen. Car pulls up, people bail out, they run out to the sidewalk, pummel people. Typically one guy flashes a knife, the other guy starts beating people, there's a third man who's involved, and then the 4th guy is the getaway driver.
Take a look at this new surveillance video released by the NYPD. These are the 4 men police say violently robbed an off-duty police officer and fractured his skull. Investigators believe they're responsible for at least 19 brutal robberies, a spree spanning almost a month in the Bronx and in Queens. And this is the black Honda sedan they've been using with out-of-state license plates.
They're so brazen they've even attacked an off-duty police officer and beat him nearly to death. Now, this is just a very clear-cut case of why the citizens of New York City need to have their Second Amendment rights and need to exercise them.
I hold the politicians are the ones that are responsible for it. They should be held accountable for what's happening in this city, from the bail reform to the petty crimes.
The Supreme Court recently ruled that New York's May issue law wasn't constitutional, it wasn't right, and they tried to make it a little bit easier for New Yorkers to get guns, but New York state officials and New York City officials have fired back with all sorts of barriers to participation. They're making it more and more difficult for people in New York to get guns. And this news story of repeated crimes caught on video by the same group of young men should be telling everyone that, you know what, the police can't get there in time. The police weren't even able to protect their own. This off-duty police officer, like I said, was beaten nearly to death, his skull fractured for his cell phone and some cash, and they took his car keys. I don't even know if they found his car. But understand this, these attacks happen really, really quickly. You can't be on guard at all times. You can be in condition yellow and you can watch what's going on, but you might not be able to outrun a group of 3 guys who are trying to get after you. And why should you have to? You have every right to be on that street and not be attacked by a criminal gang. So you need to be able to defend yourself. Now, this is multiple attackers doing terrible damage to people, typically with just their fists and feet. I don't see that any of these reports say that people got stabbed or shot. They were just beaten, mercilessly beaten, and their property taken. Many of them have nearly died because of this. And it's happening by the same group of people over and over in broad daylight on city streets in New York. Now, if that doesn't say to you, yes, we need to protect our Second Amendment rights, we need to be able to defend ourselves, I don't know what will. There are a lot of things that maybe you could do to protect yourself, but the best thing in a situation like this is to be responsibly armed, legally armed, and defend yourself to the best of your ability. There might be alternate weapons you can use. People can say, well, pepper spray or something like that might stop them. But the fact of the matter is, these young men are not going to stop until somebody fights back, until they have real fear that they might be injured or hurt by their victim, because they know the police aren't around. These things are happening in less than 2 or 3 minutes. They jump out of the car, they beat their victim senseless, they take all of their property, they drive away. And they're still driving the same car. Of course, New York police are looking for the car, but they're trying to find it among millions of cars running around New York. And that car will be ditched, and they'll steal another one, and they'll continue doing this. Again, criminals are not afraid of the police. Criminals are not afraid of the court system. Criminals need to fear their potential victims. They need to stop and think, I wonder if this person is going to fight back. When they do that, then they will think twice before committing a crime. Do you carry with a round in the chamber? Because if you don't, you need to watch this video right next to me, because it's dangerous not to, and I'll explain why. Yes, you should carry with one in the chamber.